about what were the things that you found most interesting or important or enjoyable as part of the course.
Right. So, I felt pretty confident in the world of radiology. I've been working in that for 25 years, but now we're looking out beyond radiology. We're wanting to expand into true enterprise imaging, right. and those components that I'm not familiar with, the other ologies, cardiology, oncology, dermatology, those kind of things, the unstructured, the unstructured data, the data that doesn't have orders to go along with it that we're so used to using. Right. I'm not really quite certain of how to tackle that data, how to best archive that and retrieve it and manage that data. Mm-hmm. And so my purpose of coming to this course was to start to fill in some of those gaps. And I've found over the last 2 days that I've gotten a lot of my questions answered. I don't have all the answers. Obviously,
never do, right?
Right, it's going to be a long journey. But I certainly feel much more confident now that at least I know what I need to get more down into the weeds on and to get more details. And I feel much more confident in our ability to go forward now.
So, they always say like 1, 2, 3, many. What are probably the top 3 things that really interested you or that you would take away as the top 3 value points that you got out of just the 2 days of the course?
Really the encounter-based images. I mean, that's a term I hadn't even heard before. Right. So, that was just learning that terminology, mm-hmm. and understanding really what are some of the other challenges, file sizes, videos, the GI videos. Right. I knew video was going to be something to be concerned about, but I have a little more facts to back up that concern and how to move forward on some of those things. Some of the decision making, why do you want to store these images? What are you going to do with that? When are you going to retrieve it? When do you expect to retrieve it? What's the use case for some of that information? And I think that's incredibly important to take to administration because both in IT and the CMO, CNO levels, it's going to be very important to ask those questions now. And so I have a good battery of questions to ask to kind of start to help develop what do you want your enterprise imaging to look like? What do you want it to do at the end of the day? And then you can really start putting the nuts and bolts and the pieces in place to achieve their expectations.
So one of the things that we always kind of struggle with is we have a lot of different varied people with different experiences and different levels of knowledge as we come into this. And so how did we do in terms of yourself as a highly educated CIO who's been doing this for many, many years, all the way down to some X-ray techs? Did we strike the right balance of giving value to you while at the same time giving value to them? Like, was the balance there that you needed in the value?
For me, it was perfect.
Okay.
I mean, based on my past experience being heavily in radiology,
right.
I very much enjoyed the refresher the first half day,
mm-hmm. Right.
Just because I could participate a lot and I could actually share and probably give some information to interact with the class, yourself, and the other class members. And then again, my whole thing was I won't say I know what I don't know, but I know I don't know things.
Right. Of course.
And that's why I wanted to fill some of those gaps. So this course was really perfect for me.
Okay.
It really gives me, I think, in a very short period of time, but 2 very long days. But in a short period of 2 days, it's really given me a great foundation that I can take back with me and get to work and really start to put this together.
Okay.
And now for others, going over the basics of DICOM and what we know in radiology, the things that we know very well.
Right.
You have to know those things. Yeah. You have to know where to start. And certainly for this class, it was a fairly experienced class. Right. I mean, I got the feeling there might have been 1 or 2 that maybe didn't have quite the experience, but this was a very experienced class, mm-hmm. and I think. I think they all got a lot out of it. I think certainly they all got a lot out of it.
Now, one thing we try to do is instead of just PowerPoint to death. I mean,
Oh.
we've all been there. We're like
Brutal.
50, 60, 80 PowerPoint slides. You're like, oh, even the instructor's falling asleep. They're bored.
Yeah.
So I think we try to really balance just spontaneous discussion.
That was my favorite part.
Okay,
quite
good.
frankly, 'cause, as you can tell, I kind of like to talk, so, or at least converse. So, I don't like to hold the floor the whole time myself,
Right.
but I do like back and forth networking,
Right.
discussing what other challenges the other students had faced and how they solved those problems, and
Right.
and maybe kind of coming up with some ideas for them and things like that too. What might work for them.
But that's valuable, right? That
Hugely
because
valuable.
it's
It's more
topic.
valuable.
Okay.
It's more valuable than just having information fed to you.
Right.
Interaction is much more valuable. It keeps you engaged. It keeps you awake. Because,
Me too.
because these are long days.
Right.
There's a lot packed in. To these 2 days.
Okay.
And for some 3 days that are going after their certifications. You need to keep people engaged, otherwise you'll lose them and they won't get anything out of it. They'll be half asleep by shortly after lunch.
That's right, a good lunch. What about the fire interactive and the actual fire queries that we did? Like, what were your thoughts on that?
Well, I love the hands-on.
Yeah.
And actually on the survey for the course, or what other course? The question was, what other courses would you like to see? So I put down that I think a level 2 course, a follow-on course to this, that had more lab work, more hands-on work with actual tools that you would use, like VNA tools, HL7 integration engine tools. Which the Postman was a good primer on fire, but HL7 is quite a wrangling beast, and that's what we're using today. So some HL7 integration, hands-on labs, that kind of thing. What do you do with messages to fix them? Those kind of things. Right. Because it's a kind of a loosey-goosey standard, and you need good tools to be able to deal with that. So hands-on lab work. So I think you have to have this piece first as the foundation, but then I would really like to see examples of all the things that we talked about, specifically the VNA tools. Hands-on, similar to what we did with fire, very similar to what we did with the fire demonstration. Because it was hands-on, and that's how you learn best. Right. And so I would really like to have some hands-on with the VNA tools.
I don't know, man. Once you see it, once you see behind the curtain, it's like, oh. But who would you recommend, like, for this course, what we've just gone through? Who would be the primary target that would benefit the most from this?
Certainly anybody that is looking at in a situation where they have to go beyond radiology. And get into enterprise imaging. If they're in an organization, if they've been a PACS manager or a PACS administrator for a long time, that's great. But I think it's pretty clear imaging is definitely moving beyond and outside of radiology. And we have a lot of experience and knowledge to bring to the table. But there's a lot that we don't know too. So, we can make ourselves more valuable to the organization if we can get out of radiology and not leave radiology, but get outside of radiology and expand into the other ologies and become the imaging experts for the entire enterprise. I think that's hugely valuable beyond just within radiology.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming. I know I learned a lot from you, so thank you for that. Thank you for coming. Thanks for talking to me.
It was great. Yeah, it was perfect.
I appreciate it. Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.